A few days ago, I made a video where I put an edge on this S110V PM2. Now, in that video, I did a couple things wrong. One, my hand was out of focus or out of viewing angle. I overburred intentionally. I proceeded to the next stone faster than I should have, but yet I was still able to create a decent edge just by what I was showing in other videos. Now, this S110V is 27% carbide volume from my understanding. Now, once you're able to create a good solid edge off of a coarse stone, you can do almost anything that you want to. Once you're able to actually create a good edge off of the coarse stones, it builds the base, foundation. Now, what I've seen a lot of people like to do is they like to take the Maneve stones, okay? They'll actually take a strop and they'll actually try getting a mirror polished edge. Now, I'm not a fan of strops, not a fan of the pool table. I feel like if I paid all that money for all those carbides, I really want to have a good edge that puts those carbides to work. If I wanted to go high polish, I'm thinking straight razors. I'm thinking specific kitchen knife for specific kitchen duties. But these are generalized tools. I feel like if you're going to actually want high polish cutting ability, I think there's better options. Even though we have the stone options to do it, it doesn't make sense to actually do it on these high carbide steels. Steels like Maximate, S90V, even K390. Now, I have some of the best, if not the best, stones on the market today. I have the 400 and the 1K triple B handmade super vitrified stones. Now, the super vitrified stones are Splash and Go. This is the 1K. Just throw some water on there and it will cut anything that it comes across. I have the 400 and the 1K, and generally I'm perfectly satisfied either way. Now, that also depends on the knife itself. Now, for something like a PM2, I would just stop at the 400. Other models, I may go even higher. Now, I think of pocket knives as tools, not straight razors. Some people do. I'm not knocking them. It's their preference. The stones are available for them to enjoy their knives however they want to. Now, generally, if I wanted to take this higher, the nature of this stone, I would be able to burr. And what's amazing about these stones is how universal and homogeneous your actual scratch pattern will actually be. If I wanted to actually go past this, I have, in my opinion, two options. Technically three, but I'm not a fan of strops. The resin bonded Veneve stones and the Gritomatic silicon carbides. Now, at that point, I want a clean edge, and I just want to actually refine what I've already created. If I'm trying to remove a burr, I'm going to have a issue with the stone loading up. As is, I still need to condition these stones, but I generally have lost favor with these guys. Or if I wanted to go with the Gritomatic silicon carbide, this is the 2500, I would just alternate passes. Now, if I'm feeling too much resistance this way than this way, obviously I would probably go 2, maybe 3 passes depending, and then 1, and basically get it so it's actually even back and forth. Okay? That's what I would do if I wanted to proceed with a higher polish for high carbide steels like S110V. Now, I follow that train of thought through all the way down from my ceramic stones to my Arkansas stones. Now, when I start, if I wanted to go with a ceramic progression, this is a Pride Abrasive 400. Okay. I'd soak it for about between 10 to 15 minutes. All depending once it stops absorbing water. I'll do the same thing that I did on that video, but obviously I would be paying more attention to what's actually going on. Maybe doing some shaping to actually thin the grind. Set a burr. Do my usual reduction. And try getting this knife the best edge that I possibly can off of this first stone. Now, I will generally use the Spyderco ceramics just because of the convenience and where I actually want to take it most of the time. Now, in a medium brownstone, same that you actually get in the Sharpmaker rods or the Sharpmaker system, I'll dip it in my water and soap, and I'll go back and forth. And what I'm actually feeling for is that there's more resistance one way than the other. And my goal before I move on to the next stone is to actually even that out. Low pressure because I'm actually trying to feel where resistance actually is, because it is removing the scratches from this and it's creating on new ones that are right here. Now, the Mohs hardness of ceramic alumina is a 9.0 on the Mohs scale. Diamond is a 10. It's going to cut through everything. You're going to run into issues with the stone glazing and causing a burnishing effect with diamonds. And the same thing applies with ceramic. Same applies with Arkansas stones. Now, I'm not going to claim that I'm the biggest expert on Arkansas stones, but I have used them quite a bit. I do enjoy them, and I don't think people use them correctly. Now, if you start looking into Arkansas stones, okay, Dan's is probably my favorite. Now, I know they have Washita as a variation of a Arkansas stone. That's the beginning step. However, I don't own one, and I'm not going to claim to speak on something that I have no experience with. However, I do enjoy using what I have. Now, this is a soft Arkansas stone. This is what I would follow up with the 400 Pride Abrasive. Now, I've actually labeled one side finer and one side coarse. Now, the reason being is because I got the girth on the stone that I could do something like that. Now, if I wanted to actually make a very tight progression, maybe make some passes back and forth on the coarse, and then I could actually proceed to the fine, the finer side of the exact same stone. So in essence, I'm actually having a very tight progression off of the 400 going into the soft Arkansas stone. Now, I should have a clean, sharp edge off of this. All this stone that I'm asking for is to refine what this is actually created in the first place. The hardness of novaculite or Arkansas stones is a 7. Now, to me, it doesn't make any sense when you're actually taking steels like XHP, AUS-10A, S45VN, and you're actually trying to form a burr on what I would consider a medium grit stone. To me, on a medium grit stone, I'm actually trying to refine what I created on something like that. Now, what I think is even cool with this method is that even if I wanted to do touch-ups, so let's just say this knife, I'm carrying it, using it, getting dull, okay? If I want to do touch-ups, I can hone on the fine side. Now, what if I used it a little bit more? I could always go to the coarse side, and then I could use some honing passes on the fine side to actually get more life out of the edge that I already have. Now, this is not going to actually cut and shape the carbides in the steel, but I'm not using carbide-rich steels with my Arkansas stones. However, I have the capability to actually start going through the finer grits with my Arkansas stones. Now, the soft Arkansas stone is the most friable. What you're going to run into with Arkansas stones is actually surfacing the stones themselves and worrying about glazing. Okay? Now, if I have one side coarse and the other side fine, it's still the same stone, and it actually separates the overall wear of what I want the stone to actually do. Gives me versatility, and I like versatility. Now, here's my hard. Okay. I have it only conditioned on one side for now. I could obviously change that if I wanted to. Okay. Hard arc, usually I'll put about 1,000 grit finish. Very comparable to the Spyderco brown stone slash Sharpmaker rod. Generally, I'll just use my Dawn in water, put some on here, dip my knife back and forth, trying to refine what I did on the soft arc. Now, they rate Arkansas stones by density. So you could have the exact same size stone next to each other, and for argument's sake, the soft weighs 20 grams, the hard weighs 24 grams, and then you could go on to even a true hard, which will actually weigh a little bit more because the stone is more dense and all the abrasive is more packed together. Now this is a true hard arc. It's pocket stone, because generally I don't go past 1500. Okay. And something small like this, I'm really just doing very minimal because I'm supposed to have a very clean edge off of the hard Arkansas. Now the true hard, I've seen true hards actually become more translucent in some cases, and then some are more in line with the color of like a hard Arkansas. It varies. This one just happens to be a little more translucent. Okay. It's a pocket stone. Lock it in. Okay. Be able to set your edge or keep your angle however you want to. Now, I'm a fan of pocket stones. Especially on this, because you really don't need too much for refining. Unless you're using large kitchen knives. But for pocket knives, kind of fun. Now, after the true hard, you can go to a translucent. I got this from Dan. Okay. And if you think about it, for how little that I'd actually use something like this, and how resistant Arkansas are to dishing, you really don't need anything really too thick, because it's just going to last you so long. All your work is being done, the majority of work is being done on a water stone that you could actually maintain with a stone flattener, a Nagura. It is a friable stone, and it's the stone that gets the most use. All this is just extra. It's just for whatever actually makes you happy. Set that polish however fine you want. Okay. When you start getting into translucent territory, even surgical black territory, you're getting something that's very, very sharp and keen, but it's not very durable and not very practical for everyday use on a dedicated tool. It's not a straight razor. I wouldn't think of using something like that all the time. Other people, they do. That's their prerogative. Not holding anything against them. Okay? Now, I feel if you're actually going to start using Arkansas stones, okay, you really need to actually set yourself up and actually use them correctly to analyze them fairly. Now, people always say, oh, it takes forever. Oh, it actually takes forever to actually use Arkansas stones. Are they using them correctly? I'm not sure that they are. Now, the reason I'm making this video is to actually articulate that there can be enjoyment through everything. Depending on what the stone is doing, what your end goal actually is, and to think logically about what you're trying to achieve. Okay? If you're honing a straight razor, yes, a translucent, surgical black, even a blue black, those would be something to actually consider. Okay? But if you're actually cutting around gravel, metal, copper wires, it makes no sense to make a high-end polish on something that's going to be bashing up against very hard materials. To me, I would actually either set a very obtuse angle, or I would actually thin everything down and not even set an apex. Why? Because you're going to be bashing into materials. I want some strength at the edge. That's what I want. Even steels like H1. I think work perfectly if you're actually going to be using something for hard cuts, not volume cutting. If I had a lot of volume cutting to do, something like Maximate on my vitrified stones or even silicon carbide stones would be something I'd consider. Now, what I really like the most about Arkansas stones is they are natural stones. It has that unique feel to them that's very hard to explain. Something that, how do I put this? It's like why people enjoy sitting and watching a fire. It just feels right. Now, I'm going to use everything that I have. I'm going to enjoy everything that I have. That's what I think is the biggest takeaway, especially for the knife hobby. I don't see how making things into a competition is healthy for the community. People trying to get a hair whittling edge or to actually get a steel to perform in a way that it was not designed to perform. I think that just strokes the ego more than anything else. I think if people actually put common sense, logic, understanding of what their experience actually is, and how they use their knives, what they're seeing from the stones themselves, experimenting, trying different things. I think that's how we keep the knife community healthy. Have a nice day.